The Founding Fathers enshrined the right to bear arms in the Second Amendment for a reason. They understood that a well-armed citizenry is the ultimate safeguard against government overreach. This right is not about hunting or sport shooting. It is about preserving liberty. It is a safeguard against tyranny. It is about ensuring that the people retain the means to defend themselves, not just from criminals, but from any threat to their freedom. The Second Amendment is not open to interpretation. Its language is clear and unambiguous, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Any attempt to restrict this right is a direct assault on the Constitution and the very principles upon which this nation was founded. The Founding Fathers understood the dangers of tyranny. They had just fought a war to free themselves from it. The Second Amendment is a testament to their belief in the power of a well-armed citizenry. It is a right that must be defended at all costs. The Second Amendment is not a relic of the past. It is as relevant today as it was in 1791. In an increasingly uncertain world, it is more important than ever to uphold this fundamental right. We must resist any attempt to chip away at our right to keep and bear arms. Our freedom depends on it. Gun control laws are fundamentally flawed. They assume criminals will be deterred by regulations. This is false. Criminals seek ways to circumvent the law. They obtain firearms through illegal channels. Law-abiding citizens are the ones affected. These laws create a false sense of security. They lull people into believing the government is keeping them safe. In reality, gun control disarms the innocent. Imagine a home where the homeowner is unarmed. This is the scenario that gun control creates. It empowers the criminal while leaving the law-abiding citizen defenseless. Gun control advocates point to high-profile shootings. These tragedies often occur in gun-free zones, where gun ownership is restricted. Criminals are drawn to gun-free zones. They are drawn to defenseless victims. These laws, intended to prevent violence, often facilitate it. Gun control is not about safety. It is about control. It disarms the populace, leaving them at the mercy of criminals and a tyrannical government. Background checks are often touted as a common-sense solution to gun violence. However, a closer look reveals their inherent flaws. Criminals, by their very nature, do not obtain firearms through legal channels. They rely on black markets, straw purchases, and theft. Background checks do nothing to stop this. They only serve to burden law-abiding citizens who are exercising their constitutional rights. Studies have consistently shown that background checks have little to no impact on crime rates. Criminals are adept at finding ways to obtain firearms illegally, regardless of background checks. The vast majority of guns used in crimes are obtained through illegal means. Background checks are like trying to stop a flood with a strainer. They might catch a few drops, but they do nothing to address the underlying problem. The focus on background checks is a distraction from real solutions. It allows politicians to appear as though they are taking action while doing nothing to address the root causes of crime. We need to stop pretending that background checks are an effective solution. They are a feel-good measure that does nothing to protect the public. We need to focus on real solutions, like addressing mental health issues, providing economic opportunity, and enforcing existing laws. Background checks are a red herring, a distraction from the real issues at hand. We must not be fooled by this empty gesture. Section 4. A well-armed citizenry. The best deterrent to crime. History and common sense tell us that a well-armed citizenry is the best deterrent to crime. When criminals know that potential victims may be armed, they are less likely to target them. This is not about vigilantism. It is about self-defense. It is about empowering law-abiding citizens to protect themselves and their families. Countless studies have shown a strong correlation between increased gun ownership and decreased crime rates. This is not a coincidence. When criminals know they are likely to encounter armed resistance, they are less likely to commit crimes. This is basic deterrence theory. Criminals are looking for easy targets. They are not looking for a fair fight. A well-armed citizenry creates an environment where criminals are less likely to operate. The evidence is clear. More guns in the hands of law-abiding citizens lead to less crime. This is not about creating a Wild West scenario. It is about restoring the balance of power. It is about ensuring that law-abiding citizens have the means to defend themselves against those who would do them harm. The Second Amendment is not just about protecting ourselves from tyranny. It is about protecting ourselves from all threats, including criminals. A well-armed citizenry is a safer citizenry. It is time we recognize this fundamental truth. Section 5. Gun Control Havens, Crime Havens, a Tale of American Cities. The failure of gun control is perhaps most evident in cities with the strictest gun laws. These cities often serve as case studies in what not to do. They have enacted every gun control measure imaginable, yet they continue to struggle with high rates of violent crime. Chicago, New York, and Los Angeles are prime examples. These cities have some of the strictest gun laws in the country, yet they also have some of the highest crime rates. This is not a coincidence. Criminals are drawn to these cities because they know that the law-abiding populace is disarmed. These cities have become havens for criminals and killing fields for innocent people. The very laws intended to make these cities safer have had the opposite effect. They have created a sense of impunity among criminals, who know they are unlikely to face armed resistance. The human cost of these failed policies is immeasurable. The tragedy is that these cities continue to double down on failed policies. Instead of addressing the root causes of crime, they continue to restrict the rights of law-abiding citizens. This is a recipe for disaster. It is time for these cities to learn from their mistakes. They need to abandon their failed gun control experiments and embrace policies that actually work. The safety of their citizens depends on it. Section 6. Targeting criminals, not rights. A common-sense approach to public safety. The solution to crime is not to restrict the rights of law-abiding citizens. It is to target criminals and address the root causes of crime. We need to focus on enforcing existing laws, prosecuting criminals to the fullest extent of the law, and addressing issues like poverty, education, and mental health. We need to stop making excuses for criminals and start holding them accountable for their actions. We need to empower law enforcement to do their jobs effectively. We need to provide them with the resources and support they need to keep our communities safe. We also need to address the social and economic factors that contribute to crime. This means investing in education, job training, and community programs. We cannot simply arrest our way out of this problem. We need to address the root causes of crime and create a society where everyone has the opportunity to succeed. The answer to gun violence is not to disarm law-abiding citizens. It is to create a society where everyone feels safe and secure. We need to focus on solutions that actually work, not on feel-good measures that do nothing to address the underlying problems. We need to be tough on crime and tough on the causes of crime. Section 7. Upholding the Constitution, protecting our future. The Second Amendment is about freedom. It is the right to defend against all threats, foreign and domestic. A fundamental right that must be protected. We must resist any attempt to infringe upon this right. The Founding Fathers knew freedom is not free. It must be constantly guarded. The Second Amendment is a cornerstone of our freedom, essential to a free and just society. Thomas Jefferson said, "The strongest reason for the people to retain the right to keep and bear arms is to protect themselves against tyranny in government." These words are as true today as they were over 2 centuries ago. We must remain vigilant in our defense of this right. The future of our freedom depends on it. We must not allow ourselves to be disarmed. We must not allow our government to strip us of our right to self-defense. The Second Amendment is our birthright. It is a right that was hard-won and must never be surrendered. Let us stand together, as Americans, and defend this sacred right. Let us ensure that future generations inherit the same freedoms that we enjoy today. Let us never forget that a well-armed society is a polite society. In conclusion, gun control is unconstitutional and does not work. The government has never had the constitutional power to regulate firearms. Gun control is not about the gun. It is about control. As George Mason once said, referencing advice given to the British Parliament by Pennsylvania Governor Sir William Keith, "To disarm the people is the most effectual way to enslave them." Our founding fathers understood this truth. They understood that a well-armed populace is a free populace. They knew that the right to bear arms is a safeguard against tyranny and oppression. This right is enshrined in our Constitution, and it must be protected at all costs. Let us remember that the Second Amendment is not just a relic of the past. It is a living testament to our enduring fight for freedom. It is a reminder that we must remain ever vigilant in the defense of our rights. So stay frosty, my friends. Keep your head down and your powder dry.